Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be here with you all today, and I'd like to thank you all very much for deciding to spend some time with us, and the turnout's fantastic. What I'm going to talk to you about today is about how do you prepare technology in an uncertain future. In a time of rapid change as CIO, what on earth do you do? Look, I'm the CIO of one of the biggest retailers, not just in the United States, one of the biggest retailers in the world. So people think I'm an expert on retail technology. So I get asked all the time, okay, Mike, what is the next big disruptive technology in retail? And I'll let you in on a secret. I have absolutely no idea, right? I don't know, I never did. I don't think anybody can really predict the future. But I do know two things. Number one thing I know is that that technology is already vitally important in any retailer today. It's vital to the way you improve the shopping journey for your guest, for your customer. It's vital to the way that you make your operations more efficient and effective. And that's already true today. The second thing I know is that it's going to be more true tomorrow than it is today. Technology is becoming more and more important part of retail. So in that kind of era of rapid change, of tremendous uncertainty, how do you prepare for the future? How do you kind of keep up and maybe even get ahead of your competitors? Well, the answer for me is simple. I'm not prescient, I can't predict what's going to happen, but I do know that actually if you focus on two things, you can get it right, and those two things are architecture and team. Create an agile, flexible architecture and create the most capable engineering team that you can possibly create. And I'm going to talk about that in the context of Target, and I think it's kind of instructive if you look at what's happened with Target over the past 4 years, where we've been and what we've learned. As you heard from Tammy, as a company, our core purpose is to bring joy to families. You know, shopping in Target shouldn't be a chore, it should be fun, it should be an enjoyable experience. You know, buying something off our website shouldn't be stressful, it should be easy and convenient. But when I joined Target back in 2015, just 4 years ago, it was anything but joyful. It was actually kind of sad at the time, to be honest. Target had taken some pretty hard knocks, and we were, way, way behind in digital, and our stores were losing traffic. We had the juggernauts of Amazon and Walmart going to steamroller everybody. That's the kind of mood that the company was in. Our new CEO at the time, Brian Cornell, really had a choice. Like in the movie The Matrix, he could have the blue pill or the red pill. But the blue pill, these are real strategic options that Brian faced, right? Is that, I can take the blue pill, I can shrink the company to survive, close down the less profitable stores and actually maybe get back and retract to a more profitable, healthy core. And actually, that's what a lot of our competitors in the United States are doing. If you look at, JCPenney and Macy's, some of the big US retailers, they are just year upon year closing their stores and getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That is a very viable strategy from a shareholder point of view, return a whole load of cash into the business. The harder choice is to take the red pill and invest for growth. And of course, being completely on brand, Brian took the red pill and we invested for growth. So we spent the next couple of years through 2015 and 16 testing out some new concepts in stores and online and getting closer to the most important person in Target, which is our guest. Our first big decision is that stores mattered. Now, this was in 2017. We went down to the stock market in New York, and we told our investors and our shareholders that we were going to invest billions of dollars in stores infrastructure. And that was a very counterintuitive, counter-cyclical decision at the time, because most people were saying, well, hey, physical retail is dead, it's all going to be online. So our shareholders and the analysts, they hated it, right? We got hammered. I was there on the day. It was one of the most awful mornings of my life. 4 hours getting grilled by a whole load of analysts. All the newspapers afterwards was pretty much how long is it going to take before Brian Cornell and all the management team get fired. That's what we managed. And the other thing we managed to achieve on the day is we managed to reduce our share price by about 20%. So all in all, a successful day. But we'd done our homework. We had spent those couple of years experimenting, remodeling stores, creating some new brands. So we knew what we were at. And we were very, very confident that stores were our future and that we as Target could deliver. Well, we hit the ground running in 2017. If I look back over the last few years, we've refurbished about, 600, 700, 800 stores at this stage. We've built about 100 smaller format stores. We've launched something like 30 new own brands. We've completely reconfigured our supply chain. We've launched a new loyalty scheme. We've even started a digital media company, as well as creating a whole load of new services, pickup and delivery services for our guests for online fulfillment. Now, those 3 years have, very occasionally been quite exhausting, but at all times exhilarating. And that may not sound like a tech story, but behind every one of those laundry lists of things that I enunciated around our strategic priorities lies technology and data science. And much of that technology and data science has been created here in our Bangalore office, where we've got 1,700 and some engineers. And I'm going to share just a couple examples with you. Actually, shopping and selling style products online is a really difficult thing. Selling electronics, books, groceries, commodity goods is one thing, but actually selling style items, particularly things like home furnishings, that's quite difficult, because you know yourselves, most people want to know, what's that armchair going to look like in our living room? What's that picture frame going to look like on my wall? Well, the answer to that, was created here in Bangalore for us, where we invested hugely in CGI, computer-generated imagery capability, and in augmented reality. We created 3D shoppable rooms. We created AR experiences for our guests to give them more confidence to buy the style products from us digitally. That all got started here in Bangalore. And it started with a couple of team members, some PVC piping, duct tape, and a lot of ingenuity. And they put together a rig for creating 3D images of all of our products. And today, if you go onto Target.com, almost every image that you see, and certainly everywhere you see something like a room set, that's all CGI, and it's all been created here in Bangalore. So that CGI team went from being 2 people to over 120 people today. The second thing, I think, a second example of just some phenomenal work coming out of Bangalore was our Priced Right Daily. So actually, if you look at the United States, it's a huge geography, and the markets actually behave very, very differently. Texas is very, very different to New York. Montana and Maine are entirely different competitor sets. So how do you price your product locally from a central position? Now, the answer to that is, of course, science and technology. And we created the science and the technology here in Bangalore that allows us to price our products locally against the competitors in the local market using technology, using algorithm. And today, that entire business operation, all of the science, all of the tech, belongs here in Bangalore. So, a phenomenal volume of change for Target over the past 3 years. So where are we today? Well, actually, we're in a great place. We've seen, especially over 2019, some of the best traffic growth that we've seen in years. Our profits are growing, our sales are up, and we ended up 2019 with our share price at an all-time high. And there's no way, other way of cutting it other than Target is one of the winners in US retail today. And from my vantage point, when I look ahead, all as I see is actually more runway for growth. I think we're in a phenomenally good position for the next decade. But as I say, when I joined 4 years ago, all of that newness was ahead of us. And we didn't really know what was going to come up. We didn't know that Drive Up was going to have a big impact, or that it was going to be CGI, or that there was going to be a new loyalty scheme, or it was going to be the efficacy of our pricing algorithms. But there's no way we could have done any of those things without absolutely great technology. So how do you prepare and navigate for changes? And it gets back to the 2 focus areas for us, architecture and team. First, getting architecture right is a real challenge. And actually, it requires an extraordinary amount of discipline, because often it is quicker in the short run to ignore architecture, to do the quick thing. But in the long run, that's just going to slow you down. In the long run, good architecture speeds you up. Bad architecture just chokes you up, and it stifles innovation. We follow some fairly basic principles within our architecture: centralizing data, democratizing that data through APIs, making sure that all of the applications we build are cloud ready, adopting a kind of tenant platform construct, and then investing in distributed microservices. What that has allowed us to do is we've become probably the first retailer of scale in the world where the technology underpinning our online offerings and our physical offerings, so our stores and our website, is the same technology. There is no e-commerce engine in Target anymore. There is just a commerce engine. And if you take a box of cornflakes and you scan it at one of our cash registers, or you click on it online and put it into your basket online, you are interacting with the exact same technology, the exact same set of binaries. And I don't think there's a scale retailer in the world, barring Target, that can do that. The other thing I think that we've done with our architecture is in distributed microservices. There are very, very few companies in the world that truly have a scaled microservices architecture, and we're one of them. I think we are the only company in the world that has a massively distributed scaled architecture, by which I mean our microservices are executed not just in the cloud, and not just in our data centers, but actually down in every single store that we operate, and even on the individual devices within the stores. And that's allowed us move with extraordinary pace. I mean, the pace at which we now can create new applications, new features and functions for our guests is, in my mind, breathtaking. I mean, I've been in I've been in retail technology now for 25 years. And for most of my career, the point of sale, for instance, so the cash register software, which is probably one of the most critical pieces of software in any retailer, at best we would do 1 or 2, maybe even 3 releases in a whole year. Now we do a release every week, and we could do a release every day. We could do a release twice a day if that's what we chose. We choose to go once a week, and that is just extraordinary speed. Apart from architecture, the other big focus area for us has been teams. So one of the very first things we did a number of years ago was insource all of our engineering. So, because actually I believe that technology is way too important to get it outsourced to somebody else. There's no way as a retailer that you would outsource your merchandising function. So there's no way as a retailer you should be outsourcing your technology function. It's way too important. You've got to do it yourself. But then if you are going to bring all your engineering in-house, you have to invest in training. And we've invested truckloads of money in training. 50 Days of Learning is our overarching training program. But what it actually means is that I expect my engineers to spend 20% of their time on self-development. So that's almost a day a week, right? And that's a very, very large investment. And that investment in self-development and training can take many, many forms. It can be doing an online course. It can be attending a conference such as this, or it could be indeed classroom training. And indeed, we created a classroom area called the Dojo, which is an immersive training experience, which we, over the course of the last few years, all 3,500 engineers in Target have actually spent some time in the Dojo. It's where you go. You may bring some existing work with you, but you will be supported by agile coaches and technology experts to develop maybe a new technology or to become more conversant with CI/CD or more conversant with just product agile model. We have 3 dojos today. 2 of them are in the United States, and there's one here in Bangalore. We also created laboratory stores. We call them the guest experience centers. And this is where you can actually try out some new technology in a fairly safe environment. We opened one in the United States a couple of years ago, and last fall we opened a GXC here in our office in Bangalore. Then the other thing we do that's part of the 50 Days of Learning is that we hold quarterly demo days. Now, I love demo days. Probably one of my favorite days in the quarter. And what a demo day is that we all down tools, and about 40 or 50 products get to show off what they did over the last quarter. They all set up a little booth. They train on their little elevator pitch. They all massively brand themselves, so we get stickers and logos and hoodies and whatnot. And everybody shows us then what they've done in the last quarter, and it's amazing. And every time I go around there, you happen upon something that's just absolute genius that you didn't expect. The entire leadership team of Target go to these to the demo days. The chief executives more or less mandated it that all of his team will go there every single quarter. But I think demo days kind of embody some of the success we've had as a technology organization. As I said, the teams spend a lot of time thinking up what these logos are. I got 2 shoe boxes full of these logos, right? I think nowadays people don't actually think about design and code, test, build. They actually think about what are we going to call the product, what's our logo going to look like. let's create a sticker, let's get a t-shirt. But and it may seem trivial, but I do think it speaks volumes of the pride that people have in their work. And each and every demo day, every team is trying to outbrand the next. I think that was taken to new heights in the last demo day back in Minneapolis. This is the Studio Connect team, and their product logo is a unicorn and rainbow, which has clearly just gone beyond the coffee mug and into full dress now. It was a smash hit with me and with the CEO and other members of the leadership team. But that's it. I think once you get teams who are empowered and are autonomous, that's when the magic starts to happen. And I think the magic has started to happen in Target. That's when you're getting just innovation on steroids. And my sticker collection reminds me of that magic every single day. And it shows the pride that the team takes in their work. And it shows that actually I think we've got the best technology team in retail today. Of course, the final component of that team is diversity and inclusion. Now, Target itself is a very, very diverse company. The team that I belong to, the leadership team, half of that leadership team that report to the chief executive are women, half of our stores are run by women. And in technology, we've made it a big area of focus, so that today, over a quarter of our engineers, both in the United States and here, are female, and we've invested more recently in a managerial immersion program, a training program, which we've aimed specifically at women engineers to create great women engineering managers. And that's helped us double the number of female senior engineering managers over the course of the last 18 months. We have built a world-class, diverse engineering team and culture at Target. And we've established a modern, distributed microservices architecture that's highly adaptable and scalable. And because we've done those two things, I'm confident that no matter what way the consumer goes, no matter what the competition throws at us, that we are ready for the future. So thank you again for joining us here today and taking an interest in learning more about Target's journey. I sincerely hope that you enjoy the rest of the day at Elevate Conference. Thank you very much.